Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you my updated Naturia deck profile for March 2012. I gotta say, out of all the decks I use, Naturias are probably my favorite. I just love the way that the deck runs. I gotta say, I love the lockdown playstyle of the deck, and this is also the deck that I've updated the most on YouTube. So, only a few changes, but I'll go ahead and go through them, and let's go ahead and get started. The first card you run and the main card of the deck, you run 3 Naturia Bamboo Shoots. You pretty much need this card in this deck. Its effect is amazing. When this card is tribute summoned by tributing a Naturia monster, as long as this card remains face up on the field, your opponent cannot activate spell and trap cards. So as long as you keep this card on the field and protect it, you don't have to worry at all about your opponent using spell or traps. And the only way they can stop this card is if they negate the summon, like with Solemn Warning or Solemn Judgment. They can't Torrential Tribute or Bottomless Trap Hole this card. So you need to run 3 of him. You also need to run 3 Naturia Cliff. This card is pretty much your Reborn Tengu of the deck. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Naturia monster. And the one thing about it that's better than Cliff is if a Cliff's destroyed, get out another Cliff, and then another Cliff. And then the good thing is you can special summon 1 more Naturia after this card. It's a level 4 non-tuner. You run 3 of him. And you also run another special summon monster, 3 Naturia Cherries. This is one of your tuners of the deck. And with this card, if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect or by battle, after it's sent to the graveyard, you could special summon 2 other Naturia Cherries from your deck in face-down defense position. So it's pretty much great preparation for a Bamboo Shoot. Let's say you have this and Bamboo Shoot in your hand on the first turn. Set this, let them destroy it. You get 2 cherries next turn. Tribute 1 of them for a Bamboo Shoot, and you're pretty much set there. The only bad thing about this card is if you get 2 in your hand, like let's say first turn, because that pretty much sets up your swarm, since if 1 gets destroyed, you'll only be able to special summon for the 1 that's in your deck. The effect does not work from the hand. You also run 2 Naturia Cosmo Beats. I love this card first turn as well. Let's say you have him and Naturia Bamboo Shoot in your hand. His effect is if your opponent normal summons or sets a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So pretty much, let's say if your opponent sets a monster, and you can just automatically go, I special summon Cosmo Beat. And then when it's finally your turn, you contribute him for first turn Bamboo Shoot. I love when I get that combo off. It really surprises them because they don't expect you to special summon a monster first turn, especially on their turn. You're also going to run 2 Naturia Pumpkin. This card is great for swarming the field with your hand. It's hand power. His effect is when this card is normal summon, if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon 1 Naturia monster from your hand. So basically with him, if you say normal summon the pumpkin and your opponent has a monster, you could special summon a Cosmo Beat from your hand for an instant level 6 synchro summon. Or let's say you have a leftover cherry, you can normal summon the pumpkin and then special summon the cherry for a level 5 synchro. You're also going to run 2 Naturia Dragonfly. This card is basically your late in the game power card. His effect is this card gains 200 attack for each Naturia in your graveyard, and he cannot be destroyed by monsters with more than 2,000 attack. Basically with Dragonfly, you want to end up using him later in the game. Basically, after all your cherries and all your cliffs are in the graveyard, this guy will gain a huge boost. I've gotten him up to 3,000 in a lot of my games, but let's say you have him in the beginning of the game and he's not that strong yet, you can pretty much use him for synchro material since he's a level 4 non-tuner. And the new card of the deck, you're going to run 2 Naturia Fruit Flies. This guy's gotten me out of really tough positions. He really helped protect Bamboo Shoot. His effect is your opponent's monsters lose 300 attack and defense for each face-up Naturia monster you control. And once per turn, you can select 1 face-up monster your opponent controls with 0 defense and take control of it until the end phase. So pretty much, if you have a whole field of Naturias, let's say you have your cherries, you have a Fruit Fly, and a few other cards. If one of their cards hits 0 defense, take control of it, and you can even synchro it to get one of your synchro monsters out on the field. And if you have two dragonflies out on the field at the same time, it's even better because they work off of each other's effects. And the last Naturia you run is you run one Naturia butterfly. This is your level 3 tuner of the deck, and its effect is pretty much stall, not so much with special summoning. If your opponent attacks, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard to negate that attack. You can only use this effect once, but I also like to use it to get out my level 7 synchros, because I can use its effect with Pumpkin, normal summon, special summon, to get a level 7 like Black Rose Dragon to blow up the field. And I also run one Morphing Jar for hand renewal, and one Spirit Reaper for protection. That's it for the monsters. We'll move on to spells. I run 3 Pot of Duality. I run 3 pretty much because, yes, you can special summon a lot with this deck, but when you are special summoning, like with cherries and cliffs, it's mostly on your opponent's turn. And the main part of the deck anyway is to tribute summon your bamboo shoots. So pretty much use these for plenty of search to get your bamboo shoots or any other card you need to protect him. And you can pretty much go from there. I also run one Monster Reborn and one Mind Control. I used to run an enemy controller, but I find Mind Control is a lot better because you want to have a lot of Naturias on the field, so you don't want to end up like tributing one of your cherries or cliffs. You want to use Mind Control to take your opponent's monsters and use it as your own advantage. And I also run one Heavy Storm, one Book of Moon, one Smashing Ground, one Dark Hole, and 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. We'll move on to traps now. I run 3 Fiendish Chains. This card I use mostly to protect Naturia Bamboo Shoot, because the one thing I cannot stop are monster effects with Bamboo Shoot, so you want to protect him with back row as much as you can. Like I said, I use Fiendish Chains. I got them when they were cheap, but I know how much they are now. But if you don't want to use Fiendish Chains, you can pretty much substitute them in if you don't have Fiendish Chains. Substitute them in for pretty much any card that can protect a monster. I've seen people that can substitute them in for Dimensional Prison. But like I said, the cards that screw over Bamboo Shoot the most, I would say, in my games, have been Blackwing, Gale the Whirlwind, and Neospatian Grand Mole, because his effect really can't stop them. Gale cuts him down to 1,000, and Grand Mole sends him back to your hand, and you have to start all over with him. I also run one Scrap Iron Scarecrow, just for a little more defense. Like I said, most of the traps in this deck work with keeping your opponent's monsters away from Bamboo Shoot. I also run 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device, 1 Mirror Force, and the Solemn Brigade. 2 Warnings and 1 Judgment. That's it for the main deck. Now we'll move on to the extra. I run 1 Naturia Beast. He's your level 5. Mostly get him out with Pumpkin. His effect is you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard to negate a spell card your opponent controls and destroy it. I also run 1 Naturia Barkion. His effect is pretty much a mirror of Beast. He's a level 6 tuner. Synchro, my bad. You can send 2 cards from your graveyard to negate a trap card your opponent activates. He's really good if you get him out before Bamboo Shoot, because let's say you want to go for the summon of Bamboo Shoot. If your opponent was to Solemn the Bamboo Shoot or something like that, you can negate it with Barkion. And then you also run 1 Naturia Landoise. I don't really get him out that much. He's just there if I need another level 7 extra after I use Black Rose. I also use 1 Ally Justice Catastor and 1 Bryonic. These are my second-hand monsters that I get after Beast or Barkion. And I also trying 1 Orient Dragon now. This deck goes up against a lot of cards, but the one card it has most trouble against are, let's say, Catastor and Legendary 6 Samurai Xian. So I put in an Orient Dragon now to pretty much get rid of that problem, and he's a level 6 as well, so you can just substitute him for Barkion. I also run 1 Armory Arm, 1 Thought Ruler, 1 Scrap Dragon, 1 Black Rose, 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, 1 Mistworm now. I used to have Trishula, 1 TG Hyper Librarian, 1 Stardust Dragon, and 1 Gaia Knight Force of the Earth. So it's a pretty set extra deck. And now we'll move on to the side deck. It's a pretty small side deck. I run 2 Naturia Maroons. This is pretty much for deck renewal. Let's say you run an opponent who kills your deck, use him to replenish. 2 Burden of the Mighties. These were main decked in the beginning, but now that I'm seeing a lot of XYZ plays, these cards are pretty much useless against them, so only side them in if you're running an opponent who heavy synchros. 1 more Compulse, and I also run in the side deck 2 Safe Zones. Pretty much if you get these on your Bamboo Shoot, you'll be set, because with his effect, your opponent can't use spell or trap cards, and he won't be able to be destroyed. There's pretty much nothing that'll be able to take him out. So side these in if you're up against a really tough opponent with, let's say, Blackluster Soldier, and you'll be pretty much set. And that's pretty much it for the deck. This is my most recent update of the deck. I'm hoping to test this deck out a lot more. It's a lot of fun. I'm always making changes to it. And I hope you guys like the deck profile. Please like and subscribe, and Kier Twig out.